Hi everybody, this is Anne. When I think about extruding clay, I automatically think about the wall-mounted, very expensive extruders used for constructing pottery, but that's not the only thing you can do with extruders. In this video, we'll experiment with simpler tools for decorating pottery. And the best part is that these are tools most everyone has around the house or studio. They're not expensive and they're easy to use. I begin by rolling out and ribbing a 1/4-inch slab. I don't want the slab to stick, so I placed a piece of plastic wrap under the slab and set that aside. I needed to make contrasting colored clay, so I mixed up some mason stains with my slip and let that stiffen up so it was very plastic and pliable. If your clay is hardened to the point that it takes some pressure to pinch it flat with your finger, it's too dry and you need to soften it up. If you want to learn more about how to add stains to your slip, check out the link above to the colored slip experiments. For this first project, we're using a simple hand extruder that I purchased in my local craft store. I used a die with very tiny, almost angel hair pasta holes. I put that on one end of the extruder and screwed on the cap. I loaded a coil of clay into the other side of the barrel. Again, I made sure the plunger was pulled back, then screwed on the cap. This extruder has a handle. I just began cranking that until all the clay was extruded out into little strands. I carefully pulled those strands apart to create a free-flowing design on top of the clay. Remember that you're going to flatten these strands out over the clay later, so you don't want to leave them clumping together, as those areas will lose definition. When I was happy with the design, I placed a clean sheet of plastic wrap over the surface to avoid the strands sticking to the rolling pin. Then rolled them over several times to stick and flatten them to the surface. They spread out a bit, but they're so thin they still leave a cool pattern. Now I'm going to create a hand-built mug from this slab. I made a paper template to fit around a plastic-wrapped styrofoam cone. I laid the template on the area that I wanted to capture and cut out the clay. I beveled one edge of the slab, then turned it over and beveled the other edge so they'll come together cleanly when I wrap it around the form. I scored and slipped both edges, then wrapped the slab around the cone, carefully joining the slab along the seam. I used the scraps to create a slab for the bottom of the mug. I set the body over the slab and traced around it. I scored and slipped the bottom edge of the mug, and I did the same thing on the inside of the traced circle on the slab. I popped out the styrofoam cone, pulled away the plastic, then attached the mug to the slab. I started to use the back of my finger to seal the two together. I used a paintbrush dipped in slip to fill in any gaps that there still may be on the outside and the inside of the mug. I cut the excess clay from around the bottom edge and removed the clay. Again, I went around the mug with my fingers to give it a tight seal and to smooth the edge. Around the rim, I folded and wet a piece of paper towel and went around the edge to soften and round it. I finished this off by gently pinching the edge, then stretching it out a bit to avoid warping. For the handle, I rolled out a thick 1/2-inch slab and again rolled out coils on top of it. Uh-oh, my rubber gasket came out with it. I guess I put that in wrong. I arranged the strands, then rolled them in place. I used my favorite diamond core handle extruder to cut with. When the clay was stiff enough, I attached the handle. I'm looking forward to firing this one. Keep an eye on our community section. We'll post a picture of it there when it's done. For the next project, I need to do a little preparation. I cut a strip of paper and applied random underglaze colors to the strip. The more brush strokes you can get for the texture, the better. I just randomly applied the colors, first the yellow, then the blue, and finally the red. Let that dry completely. Now here's a strip that I made earlier. I simply cut the strips to the size that I wanted. I dipped each one in water, then applied them face down to a clay slab. I used my rubber rib to transfer the underglaze to the surface. Some underglaze will transfer, and perhaps some won't. You get a more random look this way. Let's add another layer to the design using a garlic press. If you don't have a hand extruder available, the garlic press is the next best thing. I simply add some clay to the chamber and squeeze. The holes are a bit bigger than the die in the hand extruder and they aren't as long, but it still creates some cool results with it. Again, I laid a piece of plastic wrap over the slab and rolled it flat. For this bowl, I'm using a plastic pitcher top to cut with. I placed it where I wanted it and then just simply pushed it down. I removed the excess clay to reveal this design. All I needed to do was place the slab on a piece of plastic, then slump that into a styrofoam half sphere to create the bowl. I really like this festive look. Now here's one I made earlier with the styrofoam cone template. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Let's do one more variation. I cut some random thin strips of paper over a clay slab. I wet each strip and stuck them down. I brushed a solid black layer of underglaze over the paper strips and let that dry completely. I added more thin paper strips, this time crisscrossing the last strips. I took some clay of 2 different colors and let them dry to bone dry so they were like chalk sticks. This time we're going to use a tea strainer as the extruder for this project. I simply took the chalk stick and scraped it over the wire mesh so it sifts through like powdered sugar and covers the black underglaze. I gave some areas more coverage than others over the entire surface. Now when I removed the strips of paper, it revealed the black underglaze. When I removed the other strips, it revealed the white clay underneath. I placed a piece of plastic wrap over the design and rolled the confetti to the slab to set it. Again, I used the plastic pitcher top to cut the slab like before to get this geometric design. I can make this into a mug, a bowl, a spoon rest, or anything else I can come up with, but I think I'll leave it as a trivet. I would love to hear if you have any other ideas for extruder tools to use for decorating, or maybe some ideas on how to use these tools with your pottery projects. Thanks to the newest members of our Little Street Pottery Research Facility team. If you'd like to join the team and earn a title, click on the Super Thanks button or the link to buy me a coffee. It also really helps us out if you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. See you next time in the studio.
Yeah, I could really see a nice hot pot of beans on there.